Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Biology with Saman. I hope everyone is doing great. In today's video, we will be covering a very interesting topic from the chapter of human reproduction. The topic is oogenesis. It's a process of formation of mature female gamete. Now, this process of oogenesis usually differs with the process of spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis topic we have already been covered in our previous videos. You can just go through it for once. So without any further delay, let's begin our today's video, which is the process of oogenesis. As the name suggests, this process is usually responsible for the formation of the mature female gametes, and this process is usually initiated during the embryonic developmental stages. That means when the female fetus is present inside the mother's womb, at that point only the oogenesis process begins. Suppose if I'm talking of the topic of oogenesis, it is what? It's a formation of a mature female gamete. Formation of mature female gamete, right? When does it begins? When does this process begins? Or we can write in nice language that initiates. It initiates during embryonic development. It initiates during embryonic development. That means when the female fetus is present inside the mother's womb, then only development it is, right? Then only the process of oogenesis will begin. Now what happens inside the fetal ovary? We can see there are gamete mother cells. Gamete mother cell. They also have a name that is called as oogonia. Remember, this gamete mother cell is usually diploid. That means it will be 2n, right? So these are present in fetal ovary. Present in fetal ovary. Now what happens here that we need to know that no more oogonia. Oogonias, they are formed or they are added after birth. That means once the gamete mother cells are formed, there is no more addition of the gamete mother cells after the birth. After birth. Okay. So I hope this is all clear. Let's move ahead. Suppose students, suppose this is my oogonial cell, right? This oogonial cell is undergoing mitosis. That means it will form a cell that is called as a primary oocyte. Primary oocyte, let's write it down as primary oocyte. Okay. As it is a mitosis division, that means a number of chromosomes will remain 2n here, 2n here. Now what happens? This primary oocyte begins meiosis 1 and they get arrested at prophase 1 of meiosis 1. That means, as we know, in meiosis we have various phases, right? We have prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. That means as soon as the meiosis process begins, just at the first phase, which is the prophase 1, they get arrested. Okay, they get arrested at the prophase 1. Now what we see here, this primary oocyte, suppose, has a layer of flat epithelial cells. Okay, this primary oocyte is surrounded by, this is Blackman was my primary oocyte. It is surrounded by flat epithelial cells. This flat epithelial cells have a name, students. This is called as follicular cells or a follicle cell. This flat epithelial cells, the question may can come in your mind that from where they are derived. Basically, they are derived from your germinal epithelium. Germinal epithelium. In the tissue chapter, you have learned about this germinal epithelium is present in both testes and ovary. Germinal epithelium belongs to a simple cuboidal tissue. Okay. So this layer of the flat epithelial cells is called as granulosa cells. Fine. That means if the primary oocyte is surrounded by one or more layers of flat epithelial cells, this is called as, together, they are called as primary follicle. Okay. Or I can write it as 1 degree follicle. I hope it's clear. Secondary oocyte surrounding by one or more layer of flat epithelial cells called as granulosa cells are called as primary follicles. Now what happens here, students? Let's move ahead. That means after birth, puberty, what we see, there are number of follicles. That means there are follicles, which is 1 degree follicles, are getting degenerated, right? Degenerated. This process is called as follicular atresia. Follicular atresia. Okay, what we need to know here, but students, that the oogonias, right? The oogonial cells were actually, there were couple of millions. They were what? They were couple of millions. Couple of millions in both the ovaries, right? So what happens? These oogonial cells, they were million in numbers. But what happened? From after the birth till the puberty, as we know that oogonial cells start dividing and they got formed to form a primary oocyte. The primary oocyte was surrounded by the primary follicles, such that only 60,000 to 80,000 of primary follicles remains in each ovary. Rest what happened? Students, rest what happened? That the number of follicles, primary follicles, got degenerated. From where to where? After the birth till the puberty. Like after the birth to puberty, all the follicles got, we can say, degenerated. Now what happens here? Puberty begins, right? Puberty begins. What we see here at the onset of the puberty, what we see here, there is an increase in the level of gonadotrophic hormones. Gonadotrophic hormones increases, right? So as the gonadotrophic hormones increases, so FSH, which is called as the follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, both of them, which is called as the luteinizing hormone, both of their level gets increased. FSH level, follicle stimulating hormone, and LH also gets increased. So what does it do? Number one, it converts the primary follicle into your secondary follicle. What we see here, secondary follicle characteristic, there is a primary oocyte, but the number of the granulosa cells have got increased. Number of the granulosa cells have got increased. Okay. And what more we see? We see there is the formation of a theca. We see there is the formation of theca. This is what? This is theca. Theca is basically, it's what? It's a fibrous, just let me move down the cursor. It's a fibrous connective tissue. It's a fibrous connective tissue, and over here we see number of granulosa cells increased. What is it? This one is your primary oocyte. I hope it's clear till now. Okay. Now what happens here, after which the secondary follicle converts into your tertiary follicle. What is its characteristic? What are the features of it? Let's see the features. Number one feature. The first one, what will happen? That the primary oocyte grows in size and completes first meiotic division and completes meiosis 1. That means the meiosis 1 that was arrested in the primary oocyte gets converted, gets completed with the meiosis 1. Okay, let's see. This meiosis 1 division, suppose this is my meiosis 1 division, it is an unequal division. Unequal division, why? Let's see. What happens with the completion of the primary meiosis 1, there is the polar body getting released. Polar body, it's a first polar body getting released. Definitely it is a haploid. This polar body, usually it get degenerated. That means it will not undergo meiosis 2. But that doesn't happen in all the species, right? In some of the species of the vertebrates, the polar body can undergo meiosis 2 also. Then what happens? Apart from it, there is the formation of your secondary oocyte, right? Secondary oocyte. What we need to know here, this secondary oocyte, what does it do? Why it is unequal division? Because it retains most of cytoplasm. Most of cytoplasm. Why? Because in the early embryonic development of the fetus, we require the cytoplasm, right? Because as we know, the secondary oocyte students, they remain live for 1 to 2 days. So in that 1 to 2 days, they require nutrients. From where the nutrient will come? The nutrient will come from the cytoplasm, right? So they retain most of the cytoplasm of the primary oocyte. This you need to know here. What more you can learn here, that this secondary oocyte is also N, right? So both of them is N and N. Apart from which, we see antrum. Antrum is what? It is a cavity. If cavity, if filled with liquid, the name of the cavity is called as, if they are filled with liquid, the name of the liquid is called as Leaker folliculi, right? And then third one is theca. Theca gets differentiated into interna, and it gets differentiated into externa. Externa, students always remember, what is it? It is the outer connective tissue. Outer connective tissue. Just give me a moment. It's the outer connective tissue. Have fibroblast cells. Fibroblast cells are basically, they are fibroblast cells. Whenever we see, we usually say as cells that secretes fibers as well as the matrix, both. And then we have the interna. Interna secretes, they are secretory cells. So what does it secrete? It secretes steroids secretions, and they also are rich in just the steroid secretion, and also they are rich in blood vessels, right? So what we see from the internas, they secrete the steroid secretion. Also, they have the presence of the blood vessels. Externa is what? It's a connective tissue, and connective tissue also they have fibroblast cells. See, let's see the diagram of it. It will become much more easier to you. Suppose, students, see. Let me draw the diagram. Suppose I have to increase the size of the primary, we have the tertiary follicle, right? Tertiary follicle, what we are seeing here, we are saying there is a formation of the cavity, right? There is a formation of the cavity, and what we are seeing, one more thing here, there, that the granulosa cells are getting a side at one side of the follicle. Okay, as I said, there was, just give me a moment. The secondary oocyte diagram I will be drawing up in the later on our batch, right? In this, we just will be doing this. Okay, so what we see, this is my antrum. Antrum is the cavity. We see this is my granulosa cells, right? This black one is called as interna, theca interna, right? And suppose this is my, it usually merges with the ovarian stroma. So this is called as what? Theca externa. This is my secondary oocyte. Now, see, student, here. What we are seeing from the diagram, suppose, just a moment. See, this, there is the layer of granulosa cells. They are shifting towards one side, right? So, suppose, in this next, this is my what? Let's me name it as growing follicle. Growing tertiary follicle. Suppose, student, this tertiary follicle is growing into something like this. Something like this. I just wanted to make you understand a structure called as cumulus offurus. That is why I'm drawing it like this. See, what we can see from here, that suppose this granulosa cells, what does it doing? What we are seeing it from here, this granulosa cell is shifting towards one side to form a pedicel like structure. Pedicel means it's a stalk. It's a stalk like structure that we can see. That means when the granulosa cell shifts to one side to form what is gone from, it is forming a pedicel. Pedicel means it's a stalk called as cumulus ophurus. What is the role of the cumulus ophurus? The role of the cumulus ophurus is to hold secondary oocyte or to adhere the secondary oocyte to the surface of follicle. Right? What is the main role of the cumulus ophurus is to move the secondary oocyte towards the surface of the follicle, whichever follicle it can be. Either it can be in the tertiary follicle or the Graafian follicle. See, okay, this is my antrum, obviously. This is my antrum. CO stands for cumulus ophurus. This is my secondary oocyte. See the mature follicle structure. Suppose if I'm drawing the mature follicle structure, suppose, see like this here. Suppose this is my Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle is called as what? It is called as your mature follicle. What we'll be seeing here, again the Graafian follicle has the antrum, but what here we will be seeing, that the cumulus ophurus, which is made up of the granulosa cells, it is more towards, it's shifting the secondary oocyte more towards the surface, like this. This is called as your Graafian follicle, or they are called as your mature follicle. What is the main motive of the shifting the secondary oocyte more towards the surface of the follicle? So that when the Graafian follicle ruptures, then the secondary oocyte does not take too much time to come out from the cell. Right, so that is the main role of the cumulus ophurus. Definitely, this is the shortening. There is the shortens of, you can say here like this, shortening of cumulus ophurus. That's it. This was what? This one is secondary oocyte. So that was the gist of the topic, students, right? We have talked about the primary follicle. We have talked about the tertiary follicle. Definitely these two were growing follicles. Always remember, student, that theca externa and interna is the part of the tertiary follicle, and secondary oocyte formation takes place within the tertiary follicle. That means when the primary oocyte converts into the secondary oocyte, that process also takes place within the tertiary follicle. Remember, student, the process of oogenesis has not been completed yet. That means the secondary oocyte, after the rupture of the Graafian follicle, the secondary oocyte releases and they moves into the fallopian tube. Now they wait for the sperm to enter into the fallopian tube, right? And definitely the fusion takes place in the ampullary junction of the fallopian tube. Now when the entry of the sperm into the ovum, or we can say the entry of the sperm into the cytoplasma of the secondary oocyte, results in the completion of the meiosis II. That means meiosis II will complete only if when the sperm will enter into the cytoplasma of the secondary oocyte. Fine. So this was all the role of the oogenesis process, and the process of fertilization we can discuss it in our later on videos, right? I hope you got to know more about it. Secondary oocyte is basically, it is a haploid, number of chromosomes present. Cumulus ophirus is basically, it is formed of the granulosa cells. They act like a pedicel, they act like a stalk to move, so that to move the secondary oocyte more towards the surface of the follicle. It can, these cumulus ophirus is seen in tertiary follicle, and they're also seen in the Graafian follicle. I hope it got cleared, everyone. The role of the gonadotrophic hormones, which is FSH, LH. FSH, LH have a greater role in the follicular development. Mostly for the follicular growth and development, we consider FSH only, right? So this was the overall gist. Also remember, students, that in the oogonia there are a couple of millions of the oogonial cells which are formed in both the ovaries. Okay, so this was the end of today's video. I hope you liked it. It was an informative one. If you have any queries, do mention it in the comment section, and do like, please share, subscribe, share with your friends. Okay, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye, everyone.